I work on the WebSphere development team. I'd like to welcome you all for the DeveloperWorks conference, for this DeveloperWorks conference on the WebSphere Liberty Profile. What we'll do is we'll go through the presentation, and towards the end we'll have time for questions. You can also, people on the on the Lotus conference can actually ask the questions via the chat facility. So you can do that as well. Let's get started. Right. So the WebSphere Liberty Profile was first released. In 2011 there was WebSphere Application Server, and we had released. We had version 8, and what were the things that WebSphere Application Server? What were the aspects of WebSphere Application Servers that made it so popular? Where it was actually Java EE compliant with the latest spec. It is secure, robust, fast, well-tooled, and scalable. So this was, not enough for some of our customers. They asked for something more. So they wanted a server that was lightweight, both in memory footprint and in the disk space that it occupies. And they wanted the server to be composable. That is, you could compose the server with the features that you want. And they wanted it to be simple. The config and the usage of the server should be simpler. And it should be flexible and dynamic. So you need not have restarts of the server, like in traditional WebSphere. So changes that you make during development should reflect immediately without restarting the server. So the server also needed to be extensible. So many people wanted to extend the server with their products or their solutions. And it should be cloud ready, because we are in the time where cloud is very important. So all these features were needed, but it should be as production ready as the original, and it should have a higher scale for management. And so we came up with the WebSphere Application Server Liberty Profile. So first, we are going to see each of these aspects of it. So see, Liberty is lightweight. So the Java EE 6 Web Profile Certified App Server, that is Liberty Core, is a 54 MB download. So that is pretty small. You can get it downloaded very fast. It starts in less than 3 seconds. So you can see the chart below where you have the startup time comparison of different servers. So basically you have Tomcat, which takes 1.4 seconds, but note that that is not a web profile, it's just a web container. So you have Liberty, which is taking 2.7 seconds. So that has a lot of additional features. So it's pretty fast. And the memory footprint is less than 60 MB. So it's 54 MB as per the chart, and it's again slightly more than Tomcat and lesser than Glassfish and JBoss. And the developer tools should be available as an Eclipse plugin. So as you can see in the picture, so you have Eclipse, and then you have WebSphere developer tools, which is a free download. So you can download it from the Eclipse marketplace, and it will support your Java EE completely, development of applications via Java EE, and it's free. And you have Web2O, mobile, OSGI, and then support for both traditional VAS and Liberty. So you get this functionality for free, and then if you want more functionality, then you can purchase Rational Application Developer, which has support for developing resource adapters and SCA components and JSF and batch support and many other things.
Now attending.
Secondly, this is a composable server. So what does that mean? So again, seeing this particular slide, you can see a comparison of Liberty and traditional VAS. So if you see the full profile, that is traditional VAS, you see the different things stacked on top of each other. You see the runtime services, you see the config model. So on top of all these things, there is the Java EE implementation and then the VAS extension. So note that these are fairly monolithic blocks that are there. So if you see Liberty, you see a kernel, you see on top of that the application manager and HTTP. So this is the base runtime. And on top of that, you can install different features. So basically, you see servlet, you see JSF, JSP, security. So you can actually configure the features that comprise the server. So only the features that you configure would be loaded. So this is a composable server. Yeah, so this site reiterates what I said. That is, you control which features are loaded into each server instance. So if you see this, you can see that there is a configuration of Servlet 3.0 in one case, and in the other case there's a configuration of JSF and app security. So only the features that you configure are loaded. Now that would also mean the features that are needed. So for those features, so there may be features like JSF, for example, that would need JSP, that would need servlet. So JSP would need servlets to be container to be there. So it will automatically determine the features that are needed for whichever feature that you want. So if you say JSF, it will also load the features that are needed for JSF to work. So basically, you control what are the features that are loaded. And then each feature is self-contained. So basically, there is something known as the Liberty repository from where you can add and you can download new features. So we make features available there from time to time, and you can install those features into your Liberty profile to get that new functionality. Right. So, and then you have composable features. So basically, you have different editions of Liberty as well, just like for VAS, where you had network deployment and base express. So basically, the smallest one is the Liberty Core edition, which has the Java EE6 web profile. In addition to that, it has additional features like JAX-RS and so on. Then there is the base version, that is base express or developer editions, which are all the same and for Liberty. And it adds some more of the Java EE6 profile features like JMS, for example, and then JAX-WS, which is web services. And then there is the network deployment edition, which adds centralized management and clustering via collectives, which is something that is analogous to Cell, which is pretty similar to that concept in VAS. And then you have ZOS edition, which adds features for exploiting ZOS. Which adds features that exploit the ZOS functionality. Going to the next slide. So this slide shows the different features that are available in each of the editions. You can see the dark blue one representing core, and the bottommost, the rectangle, this rounded rectangle is actually the features that comprise web profile. In addition to that, there are a number of features that are there in core. So they are shown outside of that, like say web cache, distributed map, and OAuth, and so on. Admin center, which is new for administration. And then you have the base, where you have JMS, as I said, JCA newly, and you have MDB support and JAX-B and JAX-WS. And in ND, you have the collective controller cluster member features, which is for clustering and for management of a large number of servers. And then in ZOS, you have the ZOS security, SAF, stuff like that. Then transactions like RRS,
now attending
ZOS specific local transactions, and then ZOS workload management, ZOS Connect, and ZOS local adapters. So that's what are the features. So now it's actually simple. So you can download the server from VASdev.net. You don't need to log in with your IBM ID or anything. you can directly go to rserver.net, download it, accept the license, click on download, accept the license, and it will be downloaded. Once you download it, you can run the command that is shown, that is java-jar xyz.jar. So that jar file, you'll get a jar file which you can install. So running the command will extract that jar into a particular directory that you specify. The other way that you can install it is using developer tools. So as I said, developer tools is available in the Eclipse marketplace. So you can go to rserver.net. You can open your Eclipse, go to rserver.net, and there would be an install button that is shown. You can drag and drop it into your Eclipse, and it will automatically install WDT. Or you can search in the marketplace and install it. Search for Websphere Developer Tools for Liberty. And the other option is that you can download the update site offline and then update it offline. And when you are actually once you install WDT, when you create and you restart your Eclipse, when you create a new server, you'll get the option to create a Liberty server. And during that flow, you can also get the server installed, because the wizard will have the option to download and install the Liberty server runtime. So you can either go through that way, or you can manually go to rserver.net and download it from there. Then you can then go ahead, install, configure, and run an application in 1 minute. So there is a YouTube video that shows how that is done in a minute. So it's pretty easy to, installation takes hardly a few seconds, and configuring is also pretty simple, as you will see. And so basically it will be very easy for you to get up and running. So as I said, that the configuration is simple. You can see that there's only one file for configuration for Liberty.
Now attending.
So this is different from TWAS, where you have so many files actually. You have the config directory inside each server, and you would have a large number of files which are difficult for a user to actually make sense of. So you have resources file, resource.xml, pma.xml, and you have server.xml. So many files with different things, different places. So what we have done in Liberty is to make the configuration simple. So you can have a single file in which all the configuration is there. And this is shown in server.xml, shown here. Server.xml sample is shown, where you define a particular feature, JSP 2.2, and then an endpoint, so that you can access the different applications on that particular port. And so to keep things simple, the configuration is sparse. So you only need to specify what you need to have different from the defaults. So basically there are defaults for most of the config items. So basically you can just specify whatever you want to change. So you just need to specify a few attributes, because other things would be there configured to the default panel. So most of the time when you are developing, you don't need to do much of modification or add a large number of configuration options. And then finally, this is an important point, hidden in internal skip class loader screen. So what does that mean actually? So basically in most app servers, including traditional WAS, we note there is a problem known as bleeding of the internal classes. So what happens is, so suppose the app server internally uses a particular library. Now, when your application also uses that same library, there would be a conflict. So what you would have to do is probably hide those things, or you have to do some particular configuration such that the classes in your bundle in your application are picked up instead of the ones in the application server. This it is not. You don't even realize that the ones in your application are not picked up until you hit a problem. So this is a problem that many people hit. So what is the difference in Liberty is that the internal classes are all hidden. So your application cannot see anything that is there inside. Can only see the APIs that are made available. So you will not hit this problem. So an example would be like if internally the app server is using JUnit.jar, say and.jar, or let's say it's using say common plugin. So that would not be visible in Liberty. You would not know what is being used, and you can put any of your jars in your application, and they will only be picked up. So this makes things very simpler because debugging those problems would be, complicated. Okay, so the next simple thing is future migration. So Liberty configuration is defined in such a way that there is no need for migration for future versions of Liberty. So what is the configuration that you use today can be used in any of the future versions of Liberty. So in traditional OS, you would probably have to do a migration. There's a tool for doing the migration, config migration, right? So that is not needed. And you can actually just, share the configuration and set the WLP user directory and across multiple servers of different versions as well. Existing features will not change behavior. So that is the second thing. So basically, if you have a feature, say JSP, most of the time these features are backward compatible, but sometimes there are some changes that happen which breaks that. So this causes an issue with running your old apps in new versions of the app. So then you'll have to run the app migration tool. So with Liberty, the features will not change behavior. So if you have JSP 2.2, it will always be there. The behavior will always be same. Now, when the new version of JSP comes, say JSP 2.3 or 2.4, then you will have a new feature with that particular name. So what would happen is that you would not have this problem because you'll continuously be having the same behavior for your old features, and new behavior would be exposed by new features. And then we support versions of Java SE, different versions, and as and when Java goes out of support on a particular version, we also could stop supporting. And several of the Java 7 technologies require Java 7, so you would need Java 7 for that, and Java 6 would go out of support at some point of time. So if you want to migrate from different Java versions, then you'll have to use the application migration toolkit so that it can pick up if there's any incompatibility. Right, so it is flexible. So that means that you can bring your own Java version. So basically in traditional OS you had an IBM JDK that is actually bundled along with WebSphere. So in this case you can have different versions. So basically you can have different vendor JDKs, like we support both the Oracle JDK and OpenJDK as well. And you can have any of the Java 2SE 1.6 or J2SE 7 compatible implementations. And we actually do testing with whatever JDKs that I have mentioned as well. So you can also use your MacBook and you can develop on the Mac. So this is also a new support that's added, which is not there in traditional WebSphere. Sorry. Yeah, you can structure configuration your own way. So what does this mean? So this means that you have a single server.xml, but you can include snippets. You can have different snippets where, say, you have something, say, configuration for data sources. You can have a separate XML for data sources if you want. You can have a separate session for, say, common configuration and separate for resource adapters and so on. So as you see here, you can say include location is equal to http:// common config global.xml. So it is actually referring to a particular XML file in which you have included configuration. So it's up to you what is the way your configuration should be structured. And you can actually save your config in your version control systems along with your apps, and then deploy at deployment time use it. So going to the next slide. Yes. So how do you, so basically, like I said, if you save your config, then you need to externalize things that are different between environments like your staging and your development in variables. And then you can change the values of the variables such that the same config can be used. Now variables can be specified in multiple ways. One is in your server.xml or whatever snippets, you can have a variable tag and specify the variable using name and value as shown. The other way is you can set an environment variable in your environment and then run Liberty and then use those. And then finally you can actually have a file called bootstrap.properties in which you can define the variable. So Liberty will look in all these places. and pick up the values. And then you can install and update using the archive that we provide. So Liberty supports the installation manager process of installing as well, but we also support archive-based install. So that is, you can use your runtime jar, and then later when you get the next version, you can use the next jar and you can update. User configuration, applications, resources, so all those things would be in the user directory, and the other things would be upgraded. And you can also build your own server for backup and deployment. So there is a feature called Minify. So this is an interesting feature because what it does is, it backs up. So basically when you run this particular command, server package my server, I can include Minify. So you can see a zip, you're seeing a zip bag with some things, right, in the thing. So what it means is that when you do this, suppose you have an application myapp.var, right, and it is using, say, a servlet feature, okay, and it has a server.xml and it's a kernel. It will anyway use kernel and certain things which are there for all, which are the base kernel stuff. And so when you do this command, it will only package the features that are needed for your application along with your application, and it will give you a zip file. So if you are only using servlet feature, only the servlet feature and its required libraries would be packaged. So server size will become much smaller. So depending on what is your application, you can just customize server packages that only have those functionalities. And then you can use that zip for deployment to multiple systems. So the next thing is the dynamicity. So the first thing is the directory structure that is shown in this slide is generally the directory structure for each server. So you can see there's a directory called apps. So that is the default directory in which you put your apps. You can have any directory and you can configure in server.xml to point to any directory. Similarly, there is a directory called drop-in, which is a monitored directory. So whatever you drop in there will get installed. So suppose you have an application and suppose you have a resource adapter, you can drop both of them inside and both will get deployed. So that is a dynamic installation process that is made available. And then the different thing here is that configuration files are also monitored for updates. So any changes that you make to the server.xml. So for example, your app is running and you actually make a change in the data source to make it point to different database. So that change will happen in a runtime. Whatever till the moment all the requests that were in flight during the time that you change would happen in the old data source, and then the next ones would go through the new one. And so during development this is very helpful because you keep changing config and you keep changing your app, and so both your app and your config would be at runtime picked up, and so you don't need to reset the server. So in the running server, you can see that application tags, library tags, feature tags, you can add new features, you can add new libraries, new applications, modify data sources, all at runtime. And then we come to the part of extensibility. So you have something that is extensible. So as I said before, you have a Liberty repository. It is available at http://vasudev.net/repo, right? And this repository contains all additional features that are not packaged with the runtime. You can actually download these features and use them. So one example where we have recently made something available is JCA, and that was made available. Support for JCA was not there in Liberty till the previous release, in 8.5.5.2, and during that, so 8.5.5.3. So during that time, we made the JCA feature available as a feature in this Liberty repository. Download and install. Okay, so you can download and install new features from Liberty repository. You can run inside a Java process or application. So that's the second thing. You can have an embeddable server, and you can start the server from within your Java application or process. So you have a main program, and from that you run the server. You can also stop the server. So the server can actually run a web application that your product or your solution contains. And then your client or you only control when it's to start the server, to stop the server, and all those things. So inside your JVM, you can run the server. Then, and then we come to the extensible features. So
Now attending.
So basically, you have a feature, you have a support for product extensions in Liberty. So suppose you have a solution that you are going to put on top of Liberty, or a product that you are going to put on top of Liberty. So you can either make it available as a feature. So all the stuff in Liberty are made available as features. You can also make it available as an app and embed the app in Liberty and create a custom package as well. Another way is to use a feature. So when you use a feature, the advantage is, so basically you get access to server internals, certain APIs, SPIs. You get access to the SPIs, which are powerful, and you can utilize them. And the another advantage of that is management of native libraries. You can have different versions of native libraries for different operating systems, and you can specify them using certain tags in the OSGI manifest. And then the other advantage is again support for config. So basically, using feature, you can extend configuration of Liberty. So you have server.xml very different tags, right? So your feature can define its own tags. And so just like the existing tags like JDBC data source or something, you can have something like XYZ, and that XYZ tag can be edited using the tooling that we provide, that is website developer tools by default. So basically, so basically, how this happens is via something known as meta type. So OSGI provides this functionality, and so you can define a meta type for your feature. And based on that, we will do validation at the client also. Your WDT will provide an editor which will show what are the options that are available and for your particular config, so that users can use your configuration. So it's pretty powerful. Then you also have the ability to define extensions and have a different directory structure where your extension resides from the server. There will be a properties file that points to that extension in the server, and you can install to that location, and you can have a similar directory structure, and you can have your features and stuff there. So basically, this way you have a very powerful way to extend the server with, and use your, and to develop products and stuff on top of it. So it's cloud ready. So basically, what are the things that we provide for cloud readiness? So one is low disk use, right? So the second thing is low memory use, fast server start, and fast instance deployment. So basically, so when you provision a new instance, it is small and it starts fast, it will get provisioned easily, more faster than say a very heavy app server. And then you can compose through features, so you just need the server package that you need for your application. So that again results in reduction of size. There is installation via archives and update via archives. Then there is also zip file deployment. That is how we expose. We can, whatever I said before, of doing the minify and generating a zip file with just the features that you need. It's a quiet runtime. That means when it is idle, it does not utilize to CPU. And most Java EE features are available, pre-integrated, tested, and supported. And finally, you have a single config file for simple automation. So it's easy to use a config, save it, and reuse it at multiple places. Right. So again, by the cloud readiness, we have a virtual system pattern for IaaS, right? And so this is available via the Pure App service on SoftLayer, which is newly released. I think it's a new beta, and then via Pure Application System. So that can do the pattern management. So the virtual system pattern is shown in this diagram slide, and so you have hypervisor edition based liberties, where you have a collective controller, and then you have 1-to-N hosts, right? Each has HV editions, and then connecting to a DB, or so you can use this pattern to do this sequence multiple times, right? Any number of times that you want to have similar topologies. Similarly, for PaaS, you have the Liberty. We have provided the Liberty build pack for Cloud Foundry, and also for our on-premise. Also for our Bluemix offering. So IBM has hosted Cloud Foundry based PaaS, which is called Bluemix. So we have actually support for Liberty in this particular offering. So Java runtime that we provide is Liberty. There are other services that are provided which can be utilized along with Liberty, like ElasticMQ, Data Cache, Log, MongoDB, and so on. And then there are SQL databases as well, like MySQL and so on, Session Cache. You can also use it for your on-premise Cloud Foundries as well. Come to the end of that. So now, like the WebSphere full profile, Liberty profile remains Java EE 6 web profile compliant, right? And it has support for additional stuff like MDB, JAX-WS, JMS, and JCA 1.6. It is secure out of the box. Okay, so it is only local. So by default, it only listens on local host, and minimal ports are opened, and there are no default user IDs and passwords, which actually are generally turned out to be a security vulnerability if they are not modified. And then remote administration is always secure. For registries, we provide support for a simple registry in server.xml to get started with development. And then we have the federated LDAP or SAF for production. We also support customer user registries as well. We have support for OAuth 2.0, which allow apps to delegate authorization to a third party. It's robust. So the components that are used in Liberty Profile are the same components that we use in traditional WAS. So it's just that the config model and the glue that holds the components together has changed. It has the same transaction manager that we have in traditional WAS, which is industrial strength. It has, failover, session failover support, 2 dB or via extreme scale. It has failover of collective controllers as well, supported via replica sets. Just a minute. Okay. Right. So we'll reach that. We'll look into that a bit later. So we have disaster recovery that is similar to full profile, and you can have independent collectives in different data centers for that. This is the best practice. Yeah, fast. So basically, it's fast in startup, right? And that does not affect your production throughput. So it's fast in throughput as well. So you can see the comparison with the latest version of the full profile traditional WAS, and you see that we have almost the same performance that traditional WAS has, but with additional flexibility. We have not compromised on performance for flexibility. We have not compromised on enterprise readiness for flexibility. All the components are enterprise ready that compose Liberty. And then you can see the comparison of throughput for the TradeLight benchmark with Tomcat. So you could see that There's a huge difference actually, around more than 50% difference. Right, and it's scalable. So Liberty Profile is even more scalable than full profile ND cells. Right, so ND cells had a problem, with scalability, I believe. I think once you reach 150 limit, I believe that you start hitting some problems with scalability. So with Liberty Profile, to work out this, you have a concept known as collective, and there would be a collective controller, and then there will be collective members. So the collective controller is analogous to, say, your deployment manager, and the collective members are, it's not exactly the same, but just to make you have that link, you have the different members. Now, you also have something known as the controller replica set, where you can have multiple collective controllers for the same collective. So you have this replica set which will provide you failover. So if one of the collective controllers fail, then you get support, the others will take over its load. And using this replica set, you can actually have a huge scalability. So you have 10,000 collective members, right, Liberty app servers, and you have scale of 10,000 collective members that has been tested. So this can actually give you a huge throughput. So this has been really tested by the Liberty test team, and we have validated that 10,000 servers can run. And I believe there have been samples where there have been more than 1 billion calls as well demonstrated, API calls. So it's pretty scalable and very manageable in that scale. Then it is well tooled. So WebSphere developer tool drop into your existing web clips, right? So you can directly use it for free, and it is not very heavy like RAG. You can download it and install it into your Eclipse, or download it from the Eclipse marketplace. The migration tools are available even now. WebSphere application migration tool is available, using which you can move your apps from other app servers to Liberty. Then there is the Liberty Admin Center, which is new actually in this particular release. And so what has happened is that what this provides is a new way for administering your Liberty instances, which was not available before. And it is the next generation management tool, and it supports different form factors, like you can have browser, tablet, phone. You can do that from any of those devices. And it's lightweight and task-oriented, and you can have different plugins for it as well, for different features. And so you have a customizable toolbox for a right-sized UI per user or device. So you can have only the features that you need, which you want administration for, even in the UI. Monitoring tools also are available, like once mentioned, like the IBM Application Performance Diagnostics and CA Wiley Introspect, APM 9.1.0. Okay, so what now? So basically, you can actually download your Liberty from vastav.net. You can go to www.vastav.net, and you can download both the Eclipse tooling as well as the application server. Both are not too big, and you can try it out. So you can use the application migration tool to evaluate what are the changes needed for the applications to move to Liberty. The thing is that if you can use Liberty for development, which is what we used to say. So you develop your application using Liberty, and you can deploy it onto traditional VAS. You can also use your Liberty in production as well now. And then with respect to management, you can have different management options. So you can add Liberty servers to your existing VAS ND cell. Right? So you have interoperability between these two application servers. you can build a collective for a pure solution. So if you are completely starting new, you have a new application that you want to scale to the cloud or you want to deploy on the cloud, you can use a pure Liberty solution. The other option is your Bluemix PaaS is also available. So it's a platform as a service. So basically you can even use the Liberty that is available in Bluemix or in Cloud Foundry. And I think we would be making it available on multiple cloud providers. You roll your own management using JMX or scripting. So you can use scripts, Jython scripts that you can write, and you can run the Jython scripts to actually these scripts are separate. There is nothing like WS admin. So you use these Jython scripts to run and fetch data from mbeans or invoke operations on mbeans. You can also use there are many automation tools like Chef, Puppet, and so on, and Urban Code. So you can use these particular tools as well to do management. So there are many ways that you can manage it. It's up to you what way you want to manage it. So finally, you can tell us, what you need to think. What you need. If you see that there are some, features that you need, or you can go to http://vastav.net/answers. There are also forums and stuff. There is a forum here, and you can communicate with the development team through that. So I think we come to the end of this particular presentation. So I would actually recommend that you go and try out this app server. Try to use it in your development environments at least, or play around with it. It is, much more easier to develop using it than traditional VAS. It starts fast and the changes get reflected immediately. Now, so let's come to the questions part. So if anybody has questions, please go ahead and ask, and you can also post your questions on the chat and I can answer them. Please don't be shy. Ask your questions. Okay, let me see it.
Hi Manju, this is Nitya here. So I have a question regarding the Liberty profile that is there on the Bluemix. So if you want to change some the realm, like to add security, to add the username, password, and all that. So how do we do that here in this?
You have a server.xml, right? So in that particular file, you can make changes. So with respect to, if it is with respect to Bluemix, I think you need to, so let me think about that. Yeah, so basically with respect to Bluemix, I think you have to make changes to server.xml. So you will have to also, there's a way that you can actually package the server.xml along with your application and deploy it.
Okay.
So you can make those changes and do that. If you can provide me your email address, I can get you the documentation for that also.
Okay, sure. That will be good. I will drop you an email. I'm from IBM, so I'll drop you.
My address is mageorge@in.ibm.com. Let me just type it. mageorge. Yeah, I just send it. Yeah. Any other questions?
Hi, this is Ramesh.
Yeah.
So, is as an VAS administrator, what is the main difference between the other profiles and Liberty profiles?
Okay, so as a VAS administrator, so basically you have traditional VAS. The first thing is for administrators, traditional VAS provides you with WS admin. Right here, you can use Jython and connect to the server. I mean, you directly invoke the JMX ambience using Jython. So that is one difference. Secondly, you have collectives and collective replica sets and collective members and clusters and all, which is different. The way everything is configured is different via server.xml. So that also brings in a level of, change here. You can actually have the server.xml that is packaged along with your apps with externalized variables. You can administer using Jython, and so those are the main differences. You don't have WS admin here. You have Jython, and then your configuration is in one place instead of in having the whole config directory and so on. And thirdly, when you actually upgrade, your config is not needed to be migrated. Does that answer your question? Yeah. And also scalability, right? You have huge scalability here. I mean, you have collectives that can scale with failover for even collective controllers, or like failover for DMGR. So that is, you can have 5 to 6 DMGRs. You can scale to a huge number of servers. Any other questions? You can type also in the chat.
Can you hear me?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I can.
Yeah. Slide number 30. We would like to understand, so we are from Gurgaon, we would like to understand what is the extensible feature that we have in Liberty repository, wherein, we are going to start the Liberty server or start using the certain functions which we will be embedding inside our application. So I'd like to understand this question.
Okay.
I'm not a developer, I'm an administrator. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you have something known as an embeddable server API. So number one, so the first thing that it provides there is you can actually, you add certain things in your class path, the bootstrap jars in your class path of your application, and you have that server.start, server.stop calls that you can make. So when you do that call, it will start the server and it will stop the server. So from within your Java application, or within your, and we also have Maven scripts and all those things for that, but yeah, so ultimately from within your Java application, you can start and stop the server, and you can embed your server inside your application, your standalone application. Okay, that is number one. Number two is that features, and there's another thing, that zip extension. Like if you have an application that is deployed and you want to export the server, then there's a minify feature which will export a zip of the server with your application and your configuration, which can just be extracted and started, which will have only the features that your application uses. So if your server is say 60, 70 MB and your application uses only 20 MB of features, then you get a 20 MB zip. Thirdly, you have features which I explained, like you can have features that you write, and that features can expose configuration that can be configured in server.xml, and those features can extend the functionality of Liberty. That's the three ways that you can extend. Is that, yeah, okay. So anything else? Any other questions? Type, or you can type, or you can ask. So yeah, if there are no more questions, then we'll end the call. And I have just provided my email address. If you have any problem, you can drop me a mail. Or you want any other information. Thank you all for attending, and good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now Now departing. Now departing.
Manu.
Sailaja.
Now departing. Now departing.
Koti.
Now departing. Now departing.